Welcome to The Explainer. If you use Google Analytics, you've probably seen it. That direct traffic number just keeps ticking up. And you're left wondering, is that good or is it bad? Well, today we're going to decode that number so you can finally get your data to tell the right story. So you're looking at your GA4 reports, and there it is, this steady, maybe even kind of alarming rise in your direct traffic. It just feels like a black box, right? Are your marketing campaigns actually killing it, or is something, broken? Here's the thing. That rising number, it rarely means what you hope it does. So today, we're going to investigate what's really happening behind the scenes. We'll uncover the true causes, and I'll show you exactly how to take back control of your analytics. Okay, let's dive right into this. To solve the whole mystery, we first have to tackle the big misconception about what direct traffic even is. The dream, of course, is that a spike in direct traffic means your brand is an absolute rock star. And while, yeah, that can be part of the story, the reality is usually a whole lot messier. It's this jumbled mix of some real brands love, a bunch of untracked campaigns, and even technical errors all muddying the waters. Honestly, the best way to think about direct traffic is as the junk drawer of your website. I mean, when GA4 can't figure out where a visitor came from, there's no referring website, no campaign tags, nothing. It has nowhere else to put them, so they get filed right under direct. So where does all this misattribution even start? Well, the first and, believe me, the most common culprit is just plain old human error. These are the tracking gaps that start skewing your data before a visitor even lands on your site. It really all boils down to this simple phrase. The single biggest reason you see inflated direct traffic is from failing to tag your campaign URLs. Come on, if you don't give Google Analytics the right instructions, you can't really expect it to give you the right answers. And the difference a few little bits of text can make is, well, it's staggering. On the left, you've got a plain, simple link, maybe from a social media post. A user clicks it, and with zero source info, GA4 just throws its hands up and calls it direct. But on the right, that URL, packed with UTM parameters, tells GA4 exactly where that user came from. In this case, your paid Telegram campaign. See the difference? And these gaps, they're everywhere. Just think about all the links you share. In social media bios, in email newsletters, those QR codes on flyers. If they aren't tagged, you're just feeding that direct bucket. And it's the same for your own team visiting the site. If you're not filtering them out, their traffic can totally inflate your numbers. But what if you're doing everything right with your campaign tagging? What if you're a UTM wizard? Well, the problem might actually be on your website itself. So next up, let's look at technical glitches that can break your tracking and just erase all that valuable source data. Right, so even with perfectly tagged campaigns, a little technical hiccup on your site can completely sever the connection to where that person came from. And when that link breaks, GA4 kind of gets confused. It has to start a whole new session for the user, but since the original source info is gone, it gets mislabeled as direct. Imagine this for a second. A user clicks on your shiny new paid ad and lands on a beautiful landing page. But oops, your team forgot to add the GA4 tracking code to that specific page. So the session isn't even recorded. Then the user clicks to your homepage where the code is present and bam, GA4 sees them for the very first time. With no referral data, it has no choice but to mark them as direct. And just like that, your valuable ad click data is gone, vanished. And, this kind of session break can happen in other sneaky ways too, like when a user goes to a third-party payment site without proper cross-domain tracking setup, the session resets. The same thing can happen with poorly configured redirects, or if your site is still using insecure HTTP pages, which strips away that original source info. Okay, so we've covered the bad and the ugly. But before you panic and start a full-scale audit of your entire site, it's really important to remember that not all direct traffic is a problem. In fact, some of it is exactly what you want to see. This is the dream scenario we talked about. This is when your marketing is working so well that people just remember you. They know your brand. They don't need to search or click a link. They just type your URL straight into their browser or use a bookmark they saved. That right there is a true sign of strong brand recall. So how can you be sure your direct traffic is the good kind? Easy.
You look for other clues. You need corroborating evidence. Hop over to your Google Search Console data and look for an increase in people searching for your exact brand name. If you see your branded search volume and your direct traffic volume both trending upwards together, that's a fantastic signal your brand building efforts are paying off. All right, now that we've diagnosed the potential causes, from messy tracking and technical glitches all the way to genuine brand growth, let's talk about the cure. Here's your toolkit, a set of essential actions you can take right now to clean up your data and get some real clarity. The key here is to be systematic about it. So here's your checklist. First, use a URL builder and tag every single marketing link you put out there, no exceptions. Second, audit your site. Make sure the GA4 code is on every page. Third, filter out all internal IP addresses from your company and your partners. And finally, properly configure your cross-domain tracking for any of those third-party sites in your user journey. See, when you solve your direct traffic dilemma, you're not just fixing some number in a report. You are literally moving from confusion to clarity. You can finally see which marketing channels are driving real growth, what technical issues need a fix, and how strong your brand truly is. And with clean data, you can finally make those big decisions with confidence.